Hey, we are back. Thursday is in session, man. So much stuff has been going on. I found myself on another SocialFi app last night.
I saw that, man.
going pretty deep. There's a few red flags over there that I'm a little concerned about, but it could be a lot of fun. I know you said that you didn't want to go through the Arbitrum bridge and said, fuck that, I'm out.
Well, it's funny because you posted that out, and I grabbed one of your codes, and like 2 out of the 3 were already taken. So I got one, went on there. It was actually really seamless to get in, and then it was like, okay, now bridge your freaking ETH to Arbitrum. I was like, dude, I'm fucking out. Come on, man, don't make me do this, bro. I mean, make a wallet. Let me send the ETH into your wallet, and then you just gift me the whatever Arbitrum token or whatever. But don't make me walk through these steps, man. Come on.
Well, that's what you got. You had to do the same thing for FriendTech.
No, but FriendTech was just like, send it here. It was like, it was an all ETH transaction. It was just send to this wallet.
But that's the same of PostTech. Is the same thing. It's just different L2. Yeah, it's just a different L2. You just got to bridge
one too many steps, bro.
you got to bridge your ETH to Arbitrum because you need Arbitrum ETH before you can go play around with PostTech, which is, it's really, honestly, it's just like it's like a tokenized Twitter. It's exact same platform. I mean, DMs, your DMs are, so replace your DMs on Twitter with a tokenized version of that, and then you could buy people's profiles. It's really all it is.
I was like, am I on Twitter right now? They literally have copied the entire like look of X. And I was like, damn, am I on? If I post here, is this going to be on it? It literally, they've mimicked the whole thing pretty nicely. Honestly, it looked pretty good.
It's pretty sleek. It is worse right now in terms of the stability of the platform than the first few weeks of FriendTech and the first few days of alpha. It is horrible. There's no search function.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's falling apart, dude. It's buggy. It crashes every 3 seconds. But this Ponzi referral airdrop system that they got going on there, man, it is very intriguing. It's 100% a referral Ponzi that is happening there. And the biggest red flag, I was trying to bring this up in my DMs, and a few people left. Maybe they didn't like to hear what I had to say. The trading fees on there have not been paid out to anybody, right? So you know how there's a 10% that goes each way?
Yeah.
Right now, it's just a number on there. It's just like I've earned like 0.15 trading fees, but it's not been deposited in my wallet. The other two, Alpha and FriendTech, it automatically gets deposited into your wallet. So I told everyone in my group chat, I was like, this is the biggest concerning thing I've ever seen. If you're not paying people on this platform, then they're just going to fucking run off with the fees.
All right. Well, let's talk about this. I don't know how long we got Sammy in the room, but let's shelve this for a minute. But Sammy was nice enough to come up, and he had a really awesome post, which I've linked up top if you guys want to check out about Pokemon. And but Sammy, welcome up, man. Appreciate you coming on, dude. How you doing, man?
Thanks for having me. I'm yet to get onto Point Tech. So if you've got that one of those juicy referral codes, send them my way.
I got you, bro. I got you.
I'll hook you up, man, for sure.
yeah. Good to talk, nice. Sammy, dude. Also, for those that are watching on the live stream, I'm pulling up his thread right now. I don't know what was going on here, but Adam woke up very excited to talk about Pokemon. He was spamming the chat saying, "Dude, we got Sammy coming on. We're talking about Pokemon. This is what's happening today." So you lit something under Adam's ass.
Well, that's the thing. So this has actually been going on for. I think I first discovered Courtyard probably back in July. So it's been around a while. And what they do is they digitize collectibles. So I think the Pokemon stuff that kicked off in August. So that's been around a month. The only thing that's new this time around is the pack opening. So opening those digital packs to reveal one of those pre-disclosed cards. And I think that's the ingenious part, because I think the penny dropped for me when I thought, well, it's such a faff to get your physical collectibles, physical Pokemon cards, PSA graded, digitized, shipped. It's just too much friction. Whereas if you have all of that done and then you reveal it online, it just makes sense because it gets rid of all that. So you reverse engineer that digitization process. And I think that's huge. And you've got this actual use case that in the future, you probably have companies that will create these collectibles as cards. I know Parallel and a few other companies already do it, but then you can redeem it for the physical if you'd like to. And that's where I think that the value is here this time around.
Fantastic. I love for me, it's just, there's this massive opportunity, right? There's this incredible amount of people who collect physical cards. There's a small group of that group that will send it in for grading. There's this high-end collector group which wants the graded cards, will pay top dollar for very expensive, super exclusive cards. And then every time I turn on TikTok, there are pack breaks. I mean, literally, there are entire, companies run by people who all they do is sit on TikTok and pack break cards all day long. And these cards are already purchased, right? These are already bought by people. They're basically opening them for them live, and then they're going to mail them to them. I'm like, man, this is obviously huge. So it's pretty exciting.
It's the thing, because I think because I know eBay was one of the main places where Pokemon cards are traded, and I just something just doesn't sit right with me sending stuff in the post, hoping that it arrives on the other end for that other person to then rug you. So I don't know. I feel like I know that they're actually rolling out a custodial service to effectively mitigate that issue. So I know that's in the pipeline from eBay. But I think there's these native Web3 platforms that are doing it. They're almost one step ahead, because you can trade these. So the NFT gets attached to that physical item, and you can just trade it on the blockchain, fully transparent. You've got this global single order book that everyone can see the most recent traded prices. Because looking for those off-chain data is a nightmare sometimes. I've been discussing with so Real News Street's one of the companies that is trying to aggregate collectible data that's off-chain, and there's a couple of others that I've spoken to. But finding those reliable prices is just a nightmare, and I think this solution just makes complete sense.
So tell me a little more about Courtyard, because this is the kind of first time I'm landing on it. Is it one for one? So each physical card has a twin NFT, or how does it work?
Yeah. So have you heard of The Currency by Damien Hirst?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that, so he created 10,000 of 10,000 items, and you could redeem that for the physical. So you'd burn it after a certain date, and you redeem it for the actual physical item. And it's a similar concept here, where you create the digital version, so the NFT, through Courtyard. So you ship them your cards that are graded, or they might have a grading service integrated eventually. But you ship them to them, it gets graded, it then gets digitized. So you receive these slabs that are digitized on the blockchain, so on Polygon. And the physical it's custodied with Brinks, which is probably one of the biggest asset custodial services that I think they've been around for 150 years. They do a lot of you'll recognize the vans that drive around. I think they deal with a lot of gold and stuff like that. So yeah, like these, it's a pretty robust, like trusted intermediary, because I know that that's always a concern with, I guess, real world asset tokenization. There's going to be intermediaries at various sections to bridge that process, but yeah, so each NFT represents the actual physical Pokemon card. So it's not as if it has to be issued by the Pokemon card company or whatever the company's called. It's just, Courtyard is like an intermediary that digitizes them reliably using a custodial service that's been around for 150 years, and you trade them on Polygon. So you can once they're first digitized, you set up an account with Courtyard. So you can do that with like a Google account. So you don't need a wallet. It creates a wallet for you. So similar to the Reddit Vault model. So I think it has quite a good UI UX experience for that, for people who aren't necessarily crypto native. You then create that. You can then like you set up an account. You can either then buy already digitized Pokemon cards on their website, or you can digitize your own and then you collect that in your wallet. You can then self-custody it, so you can actually transfer it off the website just into your MetaMask, and then you can trade it on OpenSea or whichever platform does it. So it's just on Polygon. So yeah, it creates a Polygon ERC 721, and then you just trade it.
Fantastic. Yes. I love it. Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
I say I'm looking here on the OpenSea page. Not too much volume so far. 3 ETH in volume. The highest selling card is actually a VFriends for 7.8 thousand USDC. Second is a Pokemon card, 2001 trainer card for 1.5 thousand. I could see this kind of really booming. I mean, there's also 0 creator or royalties on here. They've set it to 0, so that's kind of nice. 700 owners participating in tokenized Pokemon cards on the blockchain. Dude, what a better branding than saying that your vaults are backed up by the Brinks truck. Like,
so smart, dude.
Like, how smart of that, regardless of their if they're actually doing something or not. Like, just to say the Brinks truck, like, dude, everyone knows what
the cards could literally be in the guy's closet, but that he got that co-branding deal with Brinks is freaking genius, dude. Literally genius, man. So smart. I mean, you just look at this. I mean, you talk about a Web3 company, and smart branding like that, and you could just see they're setting themselves up to be basically acquired by eBay, right? Like if they can pull this off and become like a dominant player, you could certainly see how this just fits right into their niche. It's like perfect, man.
Well, Adam, actually, it looks like they actually have a partnership with eBay. If you click on the website and it says ship your cards directly to Brinks, and then it says, where would you like to ship your cards from? The first option is eBay.
Amazing.
And so eBay Whatnot, I don't know what Whatnot is, PSA and BGS. That looks like those are their official partners.
Yes, I think they've. I did actually. I had a call with the founder, so Lejeune, yesterday, just after they dropped his packs, and I think I wasn't sure if the eBay partnership was fully live yet, but he said it was definitely in process, and I think they're in talks with them, because obviously so much volume goes through eBay for Pokemon cards. If you go on the website, it's a fairly decent amount of trades. You can't really get the data behind it too well, but I think that transition is definitely something that eBay would be interested in. It'll be interesting to see how that develops over the next 6 months, maybe a year.
It looks like they're also offering 1% on the cards that you curate. So if you tokenize your cards, you're getting 1% perpetual royalties. At least this is what it looks like at face value. I guess that's a very solid incentive to get people to send their cards in to you or to them so that they could get graded and then tokenized. Pretty lucrative if you're sitting on bags of Pokemon cards, which I know if you're a millennial in this chat, I still have my whole original 151 sitting in at my parents' house in the garage. I need to bust these things out.
Don't forget, Jake, they also tell you about storage fees and shipping fees, right? That they cut down on. They pay for all of those, which is, I think, a huge deal.
Oh, nice.
For people that want to just, like, you can now bid on stuff with them. And I found this super interesting. I'm still reading up on it. And Sammy, by the way, great stuff. It was because of your tweet that I found it. So thank you. But I think this is gonna make a lot of waves, especially because of there's just Pokemon in and of itself. because I think this is going to onboard. This is actually going to help onboard, I think, a lot of like the normies, because the 1% like royalty in perpetuity, at least until like the what's it called, is redeemed. I just forgot until this morning that you have to burn the NFT, right, Sammy, in order to ultimately redeem the physical.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah, smart. So it's 1% until the next person. So like if I'm the originator who tokenizes this item, right, then ultimately I can see 1% residual no matter however many times that thing sells until the next person actually burns the NFT and then redeems the physical. Then the clock starts over if they want to obviously tokenize it at that point. But 1% is not a bad incentive when you probably have some of these Pokemon cards going for a few $1,000,000.
That's actually a really good point. I completely missed that. I had no idea about the perpetual 1% fee until it's redeemed. It's a huge incentive.
Very cool.
Bring the normies.
Bring the normies. These are the type of things. It's funny because I remember, I think, Sammy, you did a post about this maybe a couple weeks ago. And I commented, I think that I just didn't like their branding. I thought Courtyard just reminded me of the hotel chain, right? And it's like, but the partnership with Brinks, which I didn't realize before, that's just really quite genius. And I think, to that point, it's just this ability to bring in people who just see it as a better option on something they're already doing, which is buying and selling Pokemon cards. It just makes a lot of sense. Just makes a lot of sense. What's been the response, Sammy, from you making these posts about it?
It's pretty insane. Like you get a lot of engagement. People are quite. I mean, I've been posting a little bit about Friend Tech, and it's been, by comparison, crickets. And then all of a sudden, you write something about real world assets with Pokemon, and you have every man and his dog in your DMs trying to speak to you about it. So I've even been added to some non-crypto Pokemon trading discords. So.
Yeah, that's my real question is like, what's the kind of Pokemon response been from Pokemon community?
Yeah, so I think it's more just inquisitive because there's a lot of friction for Pokemon trading, and actually there's a lot of people there's an overlap between crypto and Pokemon that just haven't really connected the dots until now. Well, they knew about digitalization of collectibles, but they just didn't see it as being within the foreseeable future. So they've been going down these archaic like channels, whether it's through Discord or just through eBay, DMs, things like that, to try and work out, or even going to those in-person meetups to trade cards. And all of a sudden, you don't need those trusted intermediaries or organized events to actually exchange that. So I think that could be a huge thing about unlocking liquidity. And I think, a lot of the responses are like, for instance, I stated about that Charizard that sold for just over $1,000, and the floor's gone up above that for an inferior graded one. But a lot of people responding to me were kind of highlighting that was overpriced. So actually, people are trading for like trading higher values on chain than they are off chain. Maybe that's because of the fact that it's all graded and all that fast been done, and you can sell it with ease. So maybe there's some sort of premium in relation to that. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting development. It's something I'll probably keep an eye on over the next for the foreseeable. I think the Magic the Gathering cards probably going to be in the pipeline, and various sporting cards as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Do you think there's going to be? I pinned a tweet I did maybe a couple months ago about that kind of little scandal around Pokemon and discovering a bunch of cards that had been stolen from the printer and all this sort of stuff. Do you think this is going to kind of bring any sort of transparency to like supply of Pokemon cards? Do you think there's any kind of validity to that, or that's just like hopes and dreams?
In what sense? Like,
so for example, like that post I had up there, it was this guy talking about how like the supply of I don't know, Jake of some rare Charizard card is not known. Like we don't really know that there's 100 or 200. There might be 1,000, but they trade at this kind of super premium, like where retail just thinks, oh, this is super rare, but it turns out there actually are like thousands of these, right? Do you think there'll be any kind of additional transparency kind of to that, because right now there's no, it doesn't enhance Pokemon, the company itself, to be transparent about how many of these things they're producing, right?
Yeah, I think that comes hand in hand with liquidity. So if there's more liquidity in the market, then I think these cards will find their fair value a lot more efficiently. So, and that might be lower than what they're trading out off chain. Because if you've got two market participants that, like, one can't find a buyer, the other one can only find a certain number of sellers, they're actually willing to pay more. Like, the competition isn't there, so it doesn't drive prices down. Conversely, you might have like cards that were otherwise thought to be less rare trade at a higher or like a premium, because you know that, like, if you've got this global order book of all these assets that are on chain, then you can literally see the number, the supply, potentially the demand, and you're going to work out a lot more efficiently. So I think, like, prices are going to shift. It's just a case of like, how quickly would you get all these Pokemon cards on chain, and would they all be traded on Polygon or Courtyard? It's probably going to be across several different chains. I think I've had responses from people on Bitcoin that said, "Oh, well, the first Charizard was minted on Bitcoin a little while ago," and I've had someone else mention that something similar has been done on Solana, but it's just been very niche cases. It hasn't been done on a wide scale thing, which I think is what, like, this partnership with Brinks offers, and various other partnerships that Courtyard are looking into.
Back up the Brinks truck, my friends. Well, we got a few hands. I'm gonna go on. We're gonna go Dave, Dogfather, and then Captain America right after.
Appreciate it, Jake. So, Jake, what you're talking about is two different things, right? So, being like new cards, right? Like new packs being issued by the company is the furthest thing from this, right? This is already owned. They're graded already. They're being sent in. So this is almost kind of like that secondary marketplace. So I think it'll definitely bring transparency. But what I'm more curious about is, how is this going to actually, like, when I think about like this being, like, everything being on chain, how do I say this? I don't know why I'm brain farting right now. I just lost my question. Come right back. I just lost it. Come right back.
That's okay.
Is your question going to be, how do you do it where they issue the card in the first instance and it's digitized and then you redeem it? Is that
no? It wasn't that.
Okay.
I was going to say provenance. That's what I was going to ask. Does Pokemon exist on the blockchain at all right now, like in a legitimate format, meaning like whether it's PSA graded or issued by like the company, does that exist? And I think because right now, because I'm part of like the VV community, for those that know VV, obviously licensed intellectual property, but like we have a license for Pokemon, being that Alcon is he's the guy who brought Pokemon here, but that hasn't done us any good as of right now. But for this, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, does that mean that we're not going to be first on the blockchain when the license does come through? So I think there's something to that effect that I think can also hold value in this Courtyard thing. I'm curious kind of what you were going to think, what you think, Sammy.
Well, I mean, they're the legitimate cards, and I think all the NFT does. This is just an intermediary that. Yeah, so this is just an intermediary, the viable intermediary that can allow you to trade this freely on chain. So you can literally redeem it. So I think even if you have PSA or the Pokemon card company doing the official issuance of that and having main partners, yes, they might be traded at a slight premium, probably through like the counterparty risk, because you're probably going to think, okay, well, that's going to be more reliable to go through them. So I'm more willing to pay a slight premium on those cards to redeem it through that process. But I think broadly it's going to be like, I think we're pretty much there already. Even if Courtyard goes under, I think there's insurance in place, and those assets are actually ring fenced. So they wouldn't be able to seize them if that process goes through. It might take a little bit longer to redeem, but I think that's probably the only differentiating factor. And I think it's a pretty reliable process in place at the moment. So I don't know if that answers the question.
No, that was good. Yeah, thank you.
Dogfather, you're up to bat.
Hey guys, so thanks for having me. Sorry for being a bit late. I had to hit the gym after a while, so before they forget my face, how I look like. So first of all, hey Sammy, great for showing up. I'm a big fan of your, analytics. So that's like top notch. Really, really. I mean, that's really someone to look forward. So another comment. I think in terms of supply, Adam, at least it gives us some lower bound estimate. So if you see 10,000 of a rare card, okay, it's more than 10,000. And the other thing is I'm looking forward to the first degen on Ordinals who literally burn such a card, really showing that, in front of some, I don't know, who kind of like, who's the expert in telling, yeah, that's a real one, sitting there, burn this fucking Pokemon card, lit, a nice joint, and then basically inscribe an ordinal. So Cook,
Yeah.
I mean you, right? Awesome OBM, OMB guy, that's the type of people, or Robness. I mean, that's the three type of people I'm looking forward to do that.
Yeah, the one-way bridge, as we call it in ordinal speak.
Interesting. Captain America, what you got?
GM, Jake, Adam,
GM.
Emblem Vault, NFL champion, what's happening? Jake Gallen, of course, unquestioned top 500 social media personality. And definitely continue to have one love for you, my boy. I wanted to ask, by the way, my name is Sammy as well, so it's been crazy hearing everyone say Sammy repetitively in this space. But I saw this news drop yesterday, and it actually sparked some conversations in the ENS community. As you may or may not know, Sammy, there's a very rabid subsection of the ENS community that's Pokemon ENS, and all the Pokemon ENS names are minted out and registered, and even some that hit mass expiry recently just got fully re-registered. You can even look down right now. Oh my goodness, you can look down in the audience and you see Dragonite.eth rocking that Opepen. So Dragonite, obviously one of those big Pokemon ENSers, very, very cool ENS name there. But I guess my question for you is when you're seeing the response to this news breaking and the initial what looks like success of this this Pokemon initiative on the blockchain, are you finding that it is bringing in new eyes and new people to to Web3? Is it too early to kind of see what that looks like? I know I just know like Pokemon ENS, for example, brought lots of people into ENS who had never even considered that option, just because they really connected with the idea of having an ENS name that's also one of their favorite Pokemon. So do you see this as maybe a chance to bring some non-Web3 card collectors on board and more? What are your thoughts on that?
So I'm actually running off captions because I couldn't hear.
Are you rugged right now?
Yeah, I think I was rugged, but I've got the captions up, so I was reading those from Captain. But I don't know if someone just wants to repeat the question, just so that I know specifically what it is.
Yeah, I pretty much I wanted to know if you're seeing this as a potential catalyst to bring on the broader nerd community instead of just us Web3 nerds, and maybe what that would look like if it was to kind of create some onboarding momentum.
I mean, there is some new faces, but I think with the Twitter echo chambers, you do get put into certain. Have I rugged?
No, you're good. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. You're good.
You're good, Sammy. Oh, he's not good. Did he just get rugged?
I think he might be rugged.
Well, that's it, guys.
Yeah.
ENS
Damn.
No more ENS spaces.
Spaces can handle Sammy talking to Sammy. Yeah,
Dragonite.eth down there just got his moment of fame, and now he's sad. Poor guy over there. The blockchain Twitter couldn't handle a Sammy conversation. That's for sure.
I could try to speak on it. It brings up an interesting point where, when this does take off and people start seeing that there's an option to send in their Pokemon cards, get them graded, and then start trading them, does it then, encourage Pokemon, the company, to then launch, their IP specifically on the on the blockchain when they're saying, oh, these people are, they're making money off of our IP. There's obviously a lot of interest here, and they've probably been considering it for a while. Maybe this is like what they need to put that foot through the door to finally give all of us what we really want, and that's to trade some Charizard PFPs, right?
I mean, I was wondering about that exactly because companies like Pokemon and Marvel and some of these other ones that have such, rabid fandom that would be, even look at like, the Trump digital trading cards. Like people who had never bought an NFT before were using credit cards to just like to buy those and have that be their first, digital asset. I mean, there's these massive communities that would probably just jump all over the opportunity to have their onboarding come directly from the company like that. So I think that's really, really what I was getting at eventually, Jake. So definitely nailed it there.
Cap, you're making me cry. Cap, you're gonna make me cry over here, bro. Come on, you tell me you have to know at least about Vivi with the Marvel reference. Easy peasy, my brother. Layer 2 IMX on an app on the iPhone. Come on now.
Oh, so many layers. When you think about it, though, Adam and I had talked about this on one of our shows a few months ago. When you look at the most powerful IP brands in the entire world and most profitable, it's actually Pokemon. It's not even Disney. And Pokemon, actually, it's like almost more than double of the IP revenue than what Disney makes, because Pokemon is so diverse through cards, through video games, through mobile apps, through storytelling. It's the most diverse IP brand, in the world. And this gives them another avenue to say, oh, let's put our IP on the blockchain and then gamify it. So it is quite interesting. Maybe, Sammy, you could answer this question. I don't really know. Or maybe Dave with Vivi. If you're tokenizing these and selling them on the blockchain, does places like Vivi or what is this other company called?
Courtyard.
Or Courtyard. Do they have to get like a vendor license so that they can be an authorized third-party retail seller?
So we actually have so Chef Spin, I think he's part of Courtyard, so he might be able to answer directly to that.
Yeah. I've just been sitting here enjoying the conversation. So many people in here that I follow and love seeing posts from. So I just wanted to hear how it goes. But yeah. So as far as that part works, we're a Y Combinator company. When we first started, we really dug into the whole IP aspect of what we do, and it's very similar to a marketplace like eBay. Let's say if you own something, a physical thing, and you want to sell it, you basically have the right to use pictures of that asset to display it for sale. As long as you have the actual physical thing. So because every card is in the Brinks vault, we're able to have those representations on chain.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the reason why I asked too is before I started working at Emblem, I was actually contracted to work with StockX to help them build out basically kind of the same idea. This was 2 years ago. And ultimately it got put on pause because it got sued by Nike because they didn't have a license to sell the Nike logo on the NFTs itself. I think they're still facing that lawsuit to this day. But it seems like a lot of companies, including yourselves, has kind of worked past this to create an awesome product. Really, really enjoy it. It's really cool. But I do want to call in. Is it Stisu?
Yeah, it is. It is. Hi, everyone. So I wanted to add something on top of the conversation you previously had regarding the amounts of cards that are actually available to sell, right? So from my perspective, I'm not necessarily a person that's that deep into Pokemon, but I'm rather from Magic the Gathering's perspective, out there collecting those cards, playing them. And they have, I think all of you have seen the post about Post Malone buying the 101 ring card, right?
Yep.
That was crazy.
Exactly. So this is a 101 serialized card, but there are even I think hundreds serialized cards being released each set from MTG's perspective. And this could be a really nice addition to the kind of reselling market regarding those serialized cards, because people would have knowledge about the exact amount of those cards being out there. So this could be a nice addition from the perspective of the MTG in general. Yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Quick question for you, Siko. So let me ask you this question, right? Because a lot of times when I hear kind of like the discussions like within the VV community, it's like, how do we value a digital NFT, like of a comic book, let's say, right? Of like, how do we value it against its real world component? It's like, all right, let's go to Go Collect, let's go to Key Collect, let's go to all these different places to try and say, well, how many books are out there? How many are graded? Like, don't we think that like this is going to, I mean, this is the beginning of it at least, right? Like this is the beginning of now having a much clearer picture in terms of when you're actually investing in these things. It kind of, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but like it's going to cut down on the speculation and like you're going to get more definitive blockchain data now. Like, is that a good thing for like this, like for the, I guess the industry as a whole, whether it's cards? I know that Marvel's going to be happy and the rest of them because they're going to be getting royalties in perpetuity on every single time these things flip, these digital assets. But is that good from a collector standpoint?
Yeah, for sure. Like the thing is, like the prices of the cards depend on the like geolocation. So from my perspective, MTG cards in US are way more expensive than the ones in Europe. I'm based out of Europe, so that's working in my favor. And usually the prices are based on, in US it would be TCG. In Europe it would be Card Market. This is the biggest vendor that's selling cards online. This is one thing. Another thing would be definitely like the Facebook groups, because this is where most of the trading from one person to another is happening. And I think like getting this definitive data, being able to analyze it is definitely something that would help the industry in general. Though, still people wouldn't be necessarily knowledgeable about this until it blows up even more, right? Because one thing is that I am a crypto enthusiast. Another thing is that I am also an MTG nerd. So, I am just combining those two words right now. And this is why I can kind of speak about this. But from other people's perspective, I'm not sure about it. But from my perspective, as I know both of those worlds, this definitely would help me and I would have kind of leverage in this regard.
Stiku, if you want to meet the Magic the Gathering first world champion ever, he's part of the community. So come on over. He's a good dude. His name is Loco. I invited him in here, but I would be curious to hear what he has to say in terms of like your Magic the Gathering take. But yeah, sorry, Jake. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right, I'll come definitely.
Yo, what's going on? Jake to Jake. Let's go. We had Sammy to Sammy up here, and we got Jake to Jake from Courtyard. So we're crushing crushing it today.
Yeah, I just got the go ahead. Totally up to you guys, totally optional, but we do have an extra pack that we can give away in here.
Woo, let's go.
If you want, I'm down to follow your lead on like how to choose a winner. I could go through quickly and whatever you want to do. But yeah, we have a pack and we could transfer it over. Reveal starts today, so it'd be cool for someone to get to experience revealing it. Just let me know how you want to do it.
Retweet the space.
Yeah, retweet
the space.
Retweet the space. I'll pin it to the top. But while we do that, Jake, can you take us through how the process works of opening up a pack and tokenizing it? Like, are you guys the ones that are buying these packs and then vaulting each of the individual cards to tokenize that? Kind of take us through that process.
Yeah, happy to. So every card that is in the drop is curated by us. We have a couple people on the team who have been Pokemon collectors for over a decade, some going back to childhood, and we do everything from having relationships with bigger dealers, going to actual shows. So we curate the inventory over a period of time and try to make it so that it's a really interesting mix of cards in each drop. Sometimes we do a theme. The first drop we did in this series of drops was all cards from the late 90s. So really tapping into the nostalgia angle. So yeah, every card is in the Brinks Vault for drops. and it's all provably random because it's on chain. So you could verify after you pull it that the card that you got was already in the pack, which is, I think, a big step forward for breaking in general, to have that trust and transparency. And of course, we show all the cards that someone can pull even before they enter the drop. So you always know what you have a chance of getting. And as far as tokenizing your own collection, if you go to courtyard.io, you create an account, you'll see a tokenize my cards button at the top. We try to make it as simple as possible. So we handle most of the work as far as metadata input, the scanning, the 3D modeling, obviously. So all someone needs to do is fill out some info about the cards, how many they're sending, the value. They get a prepaid insured shipping label that goes straight to the vault. And once it gets to us, I think it's about 5 to 10 business days for the minting to happen. You always try to go on the earlier side, but when we do drops, we just have a lot going on. But we populate all the metadata, we create the 3D models, and we mint them directly to the owner's wallet. And from there, it's true digital ownership at its finest. They could do whatever they want with it, whether it's kind of hold it for a while, listed on Courtyard, listed on OpenSea. It's ultimately, once it's on chain, it's theirs to do what they want with it. So it's been really cool to see some of the things that we weren't even expecting out of it. Like Sammy, you had a great thread on the first loan that was taken out on a Venusaur card, all of that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting process. From I guess maybe a logistics standpoint, let's say I had a Pokemon, I bought the rare Charizard that's 1,500 on Courtyard, and I wanted to burn it and redeem it. How long does that take to receive the card, and what is that process? Do I have to send Courtyard like some sort of KYC to redeem that?
Exactly. So KYC, it only comes into play when we're taking something from the digital world and going into the physical, just to be absolutely sure that we're doing business with reputable people and something you got to be careful of in the crypto space. So KYC, and then when you redeem it, there's no extra fees. There's just basically the cost to us. So the cost to ship it and taxes, which we obviously have to remit to wherever it's going. So it depends, where it's being redeemed to as far as the turnaround time. But within the US, it's pretty fast. It's usually like a couple of days once it gets shipped out. Could be a bit longer going to like outside the US. I should actually just to mention on that point. So right now, the tokenize my cards option is only available in the US, but we're hoping to expand that more in the future.
Fantastic. I have one final question, and then I'm gonna pass it over to Dave. But first, also make sure everyone retweets the space. I pinned it to the top. We'll be doing a giveaway maybe in about 10 minutes. So we'll make sure that we pick a winner before the space ends so that we can verify the authenticity. The one thing that caught my attention on the Courtyard page was that it says that those who tokenize their cards receive 1% in fees. Is that in perpetuity until that card is then burned and redeemed? Is that how that works?
Yep, exactly. So right now it's only for tokenize my cards is only for people in the US, but yeah, essentially if you bring on an amazing card that has like a long lifespan on chain and it's a good card, you get 1% every time it continues to sell on chain up until someone redeems it. I love thinking about cards like the Post Malone One Ring, 1 of 1, because a card like that, all it needs to do is sell a couple times for that originator to have a major payday, right? So when you're talking about a specific category of cards, that 1% can really be a major just, benefit of passive income. So we do, once it hits a certain threshold, the 1%, I think it's $10. So pretty low, but just to make sure, it's not too overbearing logistically. The originator gets an email, like a report, and they get the payout in USDC.
Wow, that is fantastic. Go ahead, Dave, and then we'll call on Jake or Jack right after.
Appreciate it, Jake. So, a lot of Jakes and Jacks.
Dude, right?
What the fuck? Yeah, mark my words on this one. Like that Pokemon NFT, if whoever burns that is absolutely crazy. I think that's going to be worth just as much as the physical, if not probably more at some point. But my question is, can you do this? I think I just heard the answer at the tail end. Jake, you said there's a $10 minimum. So can I do this with any card that's like PSA graded? Let's say I can just literally mail it into you guys, or like how do you decide like what's like what grails to take, which ones not to, like what do you reject and so on? What's the criteria?
Yeah, so just to clarify, the $10 I was talking about, that was for the 1% passive income. So basically, the passive income someone generates needs to hit that $10 threshold before it starts getting paid out. When it comes to what cards can be tokenized, that there's everything is fair game pretty much, as long as it's graded by one of the the major grading companies. That could be PSA, CGC, SGC, BGS, and even some new ones that are coming up. But there's a variety of everything from cards that are right now they're for like $15 average value, all the way up to, I think the most expensive one on chain right now is a Aaron Judge. We do more than Pokemon, even though Pokemon is by far like the most exciting one right now. But it's an Aaron Judge one-of-one auto rookie card that I think is roughly like $50,000 to $60,000 in value.
Wow. Okay. So this could be, and can this be a play? Like right now, if you were somebody that was holding some of these cards, whether they're Pokemon, sports memorabilia, a Mahomes rookie, LeBron rookie, whatever, like to be the first on chain and you're not violating any type of securities laws or anything else. Like I can't get over this provenance thing. Like that has to mean something. No, like because I would send in a bunch of 9.8, let's say, graded comic books or something. I don't know. Like that would ultimately be like, all right, if I'm the first one here, like that's got to say something, and I just hold on to that NFT.
I'm curious what others think. I definitely think so, and I will just throw in, like you saying comic books makes me think of it like cards are just the surface. We see a ton of potential in other types of collectibles too. We're really excited to get into others, but we want to do each category right. And so cards has been a big focus, and we want to do that right to start with.
Can you shoot me a DM? Papa Elon has me rate limited on my DMs and follows, so I can't really follow anybody. Thank you, Elon.
Stop spamming the chain, bro.
Yeah, no problem. I just followed you, so I'll shoot you one.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Yeah, I'm setting up the picker, so we'll do that in about 5 minutes. Sammy, or no, first we were going to go with, is it Jake or Jack? Jacob?
Yeah, it's Jack. Nice to meet you, Jake.
Okay, nice to meet you. I was like, oh my God, we're going to have 3 Jakes in here.
No, it's all good. I saw Sammy's thread and I wanted just to jump in because then I saw the space too. So thanks for the thread, Sammy. Dave, you had asked, is transparency, I think it was something along these lines, is transparency of these collectible goods, a good thing for the space, for collectors as a whole? So I wanted to jump up and just kind of talk on that because like that's what got me excited. One of the reasons I got excited about digital collectibles and provenance on chain was the fact that there is actually a transparency finally to what is the total supply. Like I care a lot about the supply, and I want to know that I have one of the originals, one of the real ones, one of what our community, what our decentralized community chooses to accept as the real ones based on chain provenance. So for me, it's a huge thing. And I've been following the artifact, the Nike, the sneaker side of things, but I think that it bridges so flawlessly into cards and trading and, booster packs and revealing physical cards. It's all chances. It's an interesting, very connected way of almost rebranding the same mechanic. So when Chef, like when you guys put Pokemon cards on chain and you're allowing your holders or your community to tokenize their cards, then also receive, part of that fee, I think it's amazing, man. So I wanted to jump up, give you guys props. I think it's a really unique application of blockchain tech in a space that is copy pasta and Fugazi, I guess. But you're bringing physicals, you're bringing the reputation, you're building a community, and you're pushing this space forward, I think, in an impactful way. So I just wanted to say thanks, man.
Fugazi. It's Fugazi.
Fugazi.
So Sammy, go ahead, and then we're gonna go on Stisu right after.
I think the question might pass a little bit, but I'll say anyway. I think just on the grading point, I know that there's a lot of cards that are ungraded. Could there be a solution where, like, say there was a bit of a headwind to getting those cards graded? Could you just accept cards, but under the premise that it's going to be ungraded, rated online, or does it still have to go through like the likes of PSA to get that branding and then go through Courtyard to go on chain?
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now, just for the purposes of standardization, for an extra layer of authenticity, and just in general, like the way our logistics are set up, everything needs to be graded. That's tokenized, whether that's through our drops or a card that someone's sending in. Long term, though, I mean, I can say like our CEO is very bullish on raw cards, has been exploring that avenue a lot. There are some grading companies that we are friendly with that, we would love to explore some possible integrations with to make it easier, because definitely feedback we've heard from our community, and I know personally as a card collector, the grading experience is time consuming. Like, it's a long turnaround time. It's a little bit of a pain to like just get your package ready to go. So if we can streamline any of that, that's definitely something we want to do. So still super early stages where that's concerned, but graded cards for now.
Yeah, when you send baseball cards or basketball cards into PSA, sometimes it could take up to 6 months to get those things graded, or even longer. It's a pain in the ass at times. Stisu, go ahead.
Yeah, so I had 2 questions for Chef. First is if you're planning to index your smart contract as a smart contract that's releasing real-world asset collectibles. And the second thing is if is your smart contract available anywhere to check it? Then I just wanted to analyze it from a perspective of, the people that are coming through it. And is this info available somewhere?
So it just so happens I see one of our engineers in here, Joe. I don't know, Joe, if you're listening, do you want to?
Joe, request to come on stage. I'll bring you up.
Well, obviously, you're going to be able to look at their contract if it's a smart contract. You're going to be able to look at it. It's just a matter of
finding.
I'm sure they have it posted somewhere. I'm sure.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean.
If you guys minted anything on the blockchain, it should be on Polygon.
Yeah, it's right there on Polygon in theory.
Yeah, I guess I could do. I'm going to butcher ST3CU. I'll follow up with you. Just it doesn't look like Joe is able to.
No, Joe's coming up.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey Joe.
How's it going? Yeah, I heard the question there. Yeah, our smart contract's public. If you go to our website, courtyard.io, and click on any of the cards there, you'll be able to click on the more details section there. There's a link. It says the contract address. You can click on it. It goes to Polygon Scan. It's all uploaded and verified. So the way it works is we have separate drop contracts that have a minter role on that main ERC 721 contract, but all the tokens are in that one registry. So if you want to analyze anything around trading, if you want to look at the seaport events for that contract, unique holders, anything, it'll all be there.
Incoming.
I also wanted to follow up on the first question that I asked. Are you planning to maybe index that smart contract as a real-world asset collectible smart contract, like with CoinGecko, for example? Thus, then we could maybe create some kind of, correlation with the interests of the users that are coming from that smart contract and analyze them through that kind of, metrics, I would say.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. We haven't spoken with anybody from CoinGecko or any of those companies, but definitely open to it. I've seen some cool analyses people have done on Dune and other platforms, and obviously we have our own internal tools where we're analyzing things as well. But yeah, I think that's one of the cool advantages of composability would be to let people build those kinds of things.
Yeah, because from like Web3, I would say marketing perspective, if you were to index those smart contracts later, it is possible to create actual like personas based out of that, because if the interest is correlated with smart contract, we can then analyze it in a way that, just checking the other interests of that person and maybe find something more interesting. That's why I wanted to ask that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Really great idea.
That was a great question. Great question. I do want to do this giveaway. If you guys didn't know, Adam and I are live streaming. I actually pinned it up to the top so you could see. So it is verifiable. We have 15 entrants, and so I'm going to hit the spin right now.
Who's going to get lucky, man? I love the spinning wheel.
Click.
Going down.
Steve Friedland, too. Steve, are you still in here?
Let's go, Stevie.
Let's go, Steve.
Let's go.
Steve, if you're here, make sure you DM Jake Chefspin to receive your Pokemon pack. You are the winner for today. Lucky you. So congrats. Dave, I think you had a question right afterwards, too. And congrats, Steven.
Congrats, Steve. That's amazing. I was going to ask, Siku, like, can you, I missed the name that you mentioned in terms of indexing smart contracts. And is that like, are you building, you said persona, are you building like audiences around there? So essentially like to market to?
Yeah, so I didn't want to mention the name of my project because this isn't the space for that. But essentially, when you index the smart contract with kind of an interest that's correlated with that smart contract, later it is kind of one of the only options to create your Web3 marketing personas. And correlating those interests is kind of a way of filtering through those people that are out there and that are kind of interacting with that smart contract, and then them having those assets is another way of scanning through those interests. Yeah, so this is kind of what we do at my project, but I won't mention the name if someone is interested.
Can you DM me that? That's super interesting. I'd really love to look into that. Wow. Yeah. And Chef, last thing, there was a question in the comments from somebody, from my buddy Tommy. He said, about are the physicals insured? Or sorry, yeah, Tommy said, are the physicals insured? Theft, holding facility, fire, flood. Can anything be replicated and cheated?
100%. It's insured every step of the way. So prepaid insured shipping label once you send them, insured at the vault, and then if they're redeemed, they're insured on the outbound too.
Appreciate it.
I'm looking at my DMs. No DM from Steve yet, but I guess I could reach out.
I don't know if he's verified. He's the guy right down there.
He is in the
big
crowd,
red. Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Friedland. It might also be in your the hidden folder, the messages. So make sure you check that as well.
Yeah, not yet, but yeah, I'll follow up with him. I'll get his I'll follow him.
Steve, move your ass, bro. What are you doing, bro? Hurry up.
Free
Charizard
in there.
We got some reactions from him, so I think we're good. And yeah, we're going to be doing in our Discord, we're going to rip some packs with the community. Like the reveal for the drop yesterday goes live at 1 p.m. ET. So we're going to open up a thing in our Discord, invite people to come on and rip, because that's part of the fun is, ripping packs, with your friends. So excited about that.
Yeah, there really is the DGen nature. If anyone has any other questions, please come up. We are Pokemon cards. There was one question actually, Jake, that somebody had commented underneath. It says, what about watches or any other valuable collectibles, art, music? Are you guys looking into any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, ideal world, like we're looking at everything, but we want to do each category right, really get to understand the collectors behind it, what just makes sense for the blockchain. So I think there's a ton of stuff coming, but yeah, I would say just stay tuned. I'll also, just because I know alpha is the currency of this space, we haven't announced anything yet, but we are cooking up something very big, currently slated for next week. If you missed out on the drop yesterday, it's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. If you like Grail Pokemon cards, you're definitely going to like this. So yeah, follow, Courtyard, follow me. Just yeah, I'm sure one way or another you'll hear about it, but we're excited.
Awesome. Yeah, Steve also just commented underneath that said, "I won, LOL, thanks." Yeah, so congrats to you, Steve.
Yo, he's not you're not verified, by the way. Sorry, Jake. He says because he's not verified, he can't message you. Damn, thanks, Elon.
I'm on it. I'm gonna message Steve.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, pay that $8, guys. It's well worth it. It's well worth it. Oh boy. All right. Well, wow, that blew up really fast. That was a fun conversation. Adam, do you have any last remarks or questions for Jake, or just about the Pokemon kind of world coming on chain, at least from the card perspective?
Yeah, I echo just some of this stuff that was talked about earlier, where it's just like more transparency in the entire card space is a good thing. And Sammy, we really appreciate you coming up, man, and sharing your insights with us, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, this has been a very good talk. I think we're gonna wrap this up here. For those that are new to the show, Adam and I and Chris and Dogfather, we host this show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We talk about the world of collecting, historical NFTs, Bitcoin, and a little bit less about the trading degen PFP culture. We work over at Emblem Vault. That's the one that's on stage, which allows you to trade NFTs across blockchains. That's why we're in the world of collecting over everything else. We do talk very often about antiques, collectibles, real world assets. I actually owned an antique store in real life a few years ago out in Las Vegas. So this is something that we both love and enjoy. So make sure that you give everyone a follow on stage, especially Jake, because there's a lot of stuff coming, especially apparently next week, right? Maybe some Yu-Gi-Oh cards or some Digimon cards or something like that, because I got some of those. So pump my bags, Jake. Not from State Farm. Pump my cardboard bags. Until then, guys, feel free to reach out anytime. Congrats, Steve, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Thanks, guys.